everyone and welcome back to my channel. So to start off today's video, I just want to send a huge thank you out to all my new followers, all of you who have been here since the beginning. I really appreciate the love and support I've gotten from you guys since starting this channel, you know, 3.5 months ago. I didn't expect so many of you to be interested in what I had to say, and the fact that you guys do and you guys have been so encouraging along the way just means the absolute world to me. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. First off, I feel really bad because I did not expect to have this many people be interested in what I have to say, so I hadn't organized any kind of giveaways for hitting my milestones. So I will make sure the next time I hit a milestone, I will do some sort of exciting giveaway. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Secondly, I apologize if my voice is a little bit gruff today. I'm once again sick. I think it's just the hay fever. It tends to get me every couple of weeks. I need to get myself on a good antihistamine to stop this from happening, because it means that I get a runny nose, I get headaches, I get the sore throats, I get all of it. So apologies for that. Now for the fun stuff. Today's video is going to be the 10 names I love but won't be using tag. I've never really been a big fan of doing tags. However, I do love to watch tag videos, and I've had a lot of requests from you guys to do this one. I've loved watching a lot of the other videos that people are doing. The only downside to it is it makes me super clucky. Like, I kind of thought that only pregnant people really do this tag because it's something you do when you're pregnant, when you're picking names and you're not going to reveal the name of the baby. Most of the ones I've watched are from pregnant people doing it, but I have mentioned a few times that we would definitely consider having a 4th baby somewhere down the track. So I do have a list of names stored up for that. And what better way to share them with you guys than a baby name tag? So before I get started, I'll do a quick little disclaimer. I apologize, I'm getting very wordy before this video even starts. I really tried to cut this down to 10 baby names in total, like 5 boy names and 5 girl names, but I couldn't. I just love too many names, so I'm gonna do 10 girl names and 10 boy names, and cross fingers this video doesn't get too long. Okay. Now we'll jump into it. So first off, I'm going to start off with my boy names. I found these a lot harder than doing girl names. I've always struggled to find boy names that I really love. So these are names that I've looked at and loved over the years but haven't picked for whatever reason, and I will go over that as I'm going through my list. Okay, so our first boy's name is Alfie. I adore this name. I think it is so sweet. I've always really loved old-fashioned and uncommon names, so names that are quite uncommon but not unheard of, and Alfie is just one that I feel like when I think of Alfie, I think of a cute cheeky little boy. This is one that I really wanted to use for Archie, however James didn't love it quite as much as I did, so we settled with Archie, which is obviously a very similar name but not quite the same. The second name is Finley. Now, if you guys watched our videos back in the days when I was pregnant with Louie, you might remember that I was fighting for the name Finley, but James didn't. He loved the name Louie. I did not start out loving the name Louie. It really did grow on me in the end, and how we ended up choosing his name was we ended up picking it from a hat. So we put Finley and Louie in a hat, and when I picked out Louie, I was actually quite happy because even though I loved Finley, Louie had just started to really grow on me, and I'm so glad we did because I really do feel like he fits the name Louie. My third boy's name is Leo. When I picture like a little newborn or a little toddler boy named Leo, my heart just melts. I also feel like this name is really adaptable. It's something that would suit an older man as well, or even a teenager. I think it's really cute. I love that it's a short name. The only reason why we didn't go with this one is because growing up, I had like a really close friend and his dad was named Leo, and I was like, I don't know, will they think that I named my baby after Leo? Would that kind of be a bit weird? So we didn't end up going with that, but that was definitely one that we really loved on our list. The fourth one, and one that I would actually really still consider using if I had another boy, was Milo. Like all of them, I adore this name so much. I think it's so sweet. With our children so far, they've all ended in an E sound, so Heidi, Archie, Louie. I'm not really fussed on that continuing. Like, I don't feel like everyone has to end in an E sound. That's just sort of the way it's happened. But when we were thinking of a name for Louie, I wasn't sure if it would really fit with Heidi, Archie, and Milo. Like, I wasn't sure if they really went together, but I guess it's something that I would reconsider if we ended up having another boy and potentially pick it anyway. Another name that I would still consider using if we had another boy is the name Otis. I know Milo and Otis, it's like that kids movie about the dog and the cat, but they're the cutest names. And once again, when I picture a little boy, a little toddler boy named Otis, my heart falls to pieces. I can't even deal. It is so cute. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love how short and sweet it is. The next one is another one that's probably not everybody's cup of tea. It is Huxley. At first, this name made me think of the villain from the Elmo movie. Yes, you can definitely tell that I am a mother of 3 children because we have seen that movie so many times. But once I started considering that name for like a little baby, and then you picture a little toddler, and then you picture an older teenager, it's something that I feel like is really cute, but also has the potential to grow with the child as well. And if that child then got older and didn't quite love the name Huxley or thought that it was a bit childish, they could shorten it to Hank or Huck as well. The next two are kind of cheating ones because I have used them before, Hugo and Sage. I love both of these names so much, and I actually picked them for Louie's middle names. So if you guys have been following our vlogs for a while, you know that each of my children have 2 middle names, and Hugo Sage just seemed like a really sweet combination to put in Louie's name, but I was also really considering those names to name as his first name as well. It was just another instance where I felt like those 2 names didn't quite go with my other children's names, which is why I didn't go ahead and use them as a first name. Number 9 on my list is Frankie. I know this is probably a really strange one. I don't know too many children named Frankie in this day and age, but my grandfather's name was Francis, and he passed away just before I fell pregnant with Heidi when I was 19, and his name is something that has been passed down through our family. So I had always thought that if I had another boy, I would name him Francis, but because it is such an old-fashioned name, I would probably just call him Frankie most of the time anyway. And then once he got older, if he felt it was a bit childish, he could shorten it to Frank or use his full name Francis as well. Now this is a name that does end in that E sound, so it probably would go with the other children, but I also think that Heidi, Archie, Louie, and Frankie might be bordering on the edge of cheesy. So it would be something that I would have to put a lot of time and thought into because I wouldn't want my children's names to sound like a joke in the end, if that makes any sense. And the last one on the list is Teddy. I have loved this name from the get-go. I love Theodore and Theo, and Teddy is just a shorter version of that. Originally, prior to Archie being born, I think that was about number 1 on my list, and I think it was because I came up with the name Alfie that we ended up going in the Archie direction, but I loved the idea of Teddy as well. I definitely wouldn't use it for a 4th child because one of my children has since had a little boy and named him Teddy, and he suits it so well. So as you can see, my list of boys' names are quite classic or old-fashioned, but they're also not unheard of being used in recent times. They're quite cute names, and I also try to go for names that are quite adaptable as the child gets older as well. Particularly boys, I feel like girls find it a lot easier to get away with cutesy names as they get older, whereas boys struggle with it when they go to school and have their little man friends and whatnot. So I've always tried to go with ones that you can easily make other nicknames out of. Now for the girls. I have about 50 little girls' names that I adore, and it was a real struggle for me to come up with just 10 that I love but wouldn't necessarily use for whatever reason. So I will jump straight into those before this video gets way too long. So the first name, and you guys are gonna think I'm so weird for this, is Blanche. So I originally found the name Blanche from an older show called The Golden Girls, which was a sitcom about a bunch of old ladies basically, and one of the ladies was named Blanche. I don't know why, but I just think it is so classic. And once again, when I picture a little girl with the name Blanche, I just can't even. I have to stop picturing children with these names names because it makes me so clucky. It makes me want to have a child with that name. Anyone who I have told that name to has been like, Ash, what are you thinking? But I really, really like it. The only problem with it is that it starts with a B and our surname is Jackson. So her initials would be BJ, and I don't know how I feel about that. I know that you shouldn't think like that, Ashley. I know it's only initials, but I just feel like, I don't know. I know kids can be mean and I just don't want my children to get teased for their names. So that's sort of the reason why I haven't ever gone for a B name before. The issue with that is that I actually love a lot of B names, which brings me to my second girl's name, Blair. So I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, are familiar with the show Gossip Girl, which is one of the first times I heard the name Blair. Whenever I thought about the name Blair prior to that, I thought of it as like the Blair Witch Project. So you don't really want to be associating a little child's name to that, but I did fall in love with it watching Gossip Girl. I know she was kind of the mean girl in the show, but I feel like she was a bit misunderstood as well. And since then, I have seen a few little girls with that name and thought it was really cute. It's a beautiful little girl's name, but I also do think that it's one of those names that really grow with a person as well. Number 3 on my list of girls' names is Neve. This is probably one of my least common ones. I think it's very similar to the name Eve, which is very popular at the moment, but just a slight variation on that. It also makes me think of the name Nev, like Nev Campbell, which is also a very sweet name, but I do love that it's just that slight variation on the name Eve to make it that little bit more uncommon. I first came across this name earlier this year when I met a little girl named Neve, and she sold it to me straight away because she was just adorable, and enough said. I think it's becoming pretty clear at this stage that if I see a child with a name that I like, I find it hard not to fall completely head over heels for it immediately and want to have a child with that name. The only reason why I probably wouldn't consider using this name if I was to have another little girl is because I don't know if it goes with my other children's names. So there would be Heidi, Archie, Louie, and Neve. Or maybe it would. I don't know about that one. You guys will have to wait and see. The next on my list is Hattie. This is one that I fell in love with shortly after Heidi was born, and obviously I can't use because it's very similar to the name Heidi. It's just another name that's quite old-fashioned, and it's just another name that stuck out to me for being very cute. However, I don't know if this one would age as well as what some of the other ones do. I can definitely see Hattie as a little girl, as a baby, as an old lady, but in that middle stage, I'm not quite sure. I've never met someone with the name Hattie to really know, but it's not one that I can put too much more thought into because it's definitely not one I can use. Number 5 on my list of girls' names is Quinn. As with all of my names, this is quite an old-fashioned one. It's one that's not hugely common, although I feel like it's becoming more and more common these days. I really like it, and I don't really have any excuse for not using it other than the fact that I've only had one daughter so far. But one of my friends, Shay, has recently got a puppy and named it Quinn, so I don't know if I could then go and have a child and name it Quinn as well, because it would sound like I was naming my baby after a dog. And I don't know how I feel about that. Number 6 is Odette. Odette is something that I've always loved since I was a little girl. I loved The Swan Princess or Swan Lake, where the lead character's name is Odette. It's a classic old-fashioned French name. Something that I haven't mentioned in this video thus far is that I like to pick my names from different cultures. So Heidi's name is a classic German name, Archie is an Old English name, and Louie is a classic French name. So while I already have a child with a French name, I think Odette is really sweet, and it would probably go with Louie quite well as well. Once again, I don't have a reason as to why I haven't used it. It's just that I haven't had another girl at this stage, so I haven't used it yet. And I love names that I can make cute little nicknames out of as well. So I don't know what I would use for Odette. Like, would I call her Odie or Edie, or I don't know. You guys can come up with any nicknames for Odette. Leave them in the comments. Number 7 is Siena. This is one that, once again, I have always really loved since day dot. I haven't used it because I haven't had another girl, but also it's becoming quite common now. This is one that isn't as old-fashioned as what the other ones are, but it is a beautiful name, so it is one that I would consider breaking the rules for. The next one is Norah. I think it's so cute. so classic. The only problem is my brother has bagged it. I actually stole it from him. It's always been on his baby name list if he ever had a girl. I'm not sure whether it's still on his list or not, but I do know that he has forbade me from ever being able to use it. So I will not be using Norah, but I do love it. Number 9 is Lulu. Once again, so cute, adorable, old-fashioned, classic, easily adaptable. But I have a child named Louie and I call him Lulu all the time, so that definitely wouldn't work. Number 10 in my girls' names is Edie. I think out of all the little girls' names that I've mentioned so far, this one is the one that is most likely to wind up being a child's name if I were to have another girl somewhere down the track. I love the letter E. I know that sounds so weird. I love the letter E, and I don't yet have a child with that initial for their first name. It ends in an E sound, like the other 3 children. It's a 2-syllable name, like the other 3 children. It's incredibly sweet, but even though it would go with my other children's names, it goes back to not wanting the kids' names to sound like a joke. So Hattie, Archie, Louie, and Edie. I don't know if it's too rhymey, if that makes any sense. I feel like it's not too bad, but other people might think differently. So I've always had that in the back of my mind when considering baby names for my other 3 children. Like with Archie and Louie, before I knew that they were going to be boys, I always had that name Edie in the back of my mind. And yeah, it's one that I would still really consider using, but who knows? I might not end up having a 4th child, and even if I did, it might not end up being a girl anyway. So it's something that I would worry more about when the time came. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if it was super long. I could just talk about names forever because I love them. I love hearing other people's names that they come up with. And so I want to hear from you guys what you thought about these names, if you have heard of these names before, if you even used these names before. I also want to hear about what names you guys have come up with, what your favorite names are, or what names you plan to use or have used before, down in the comments below. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you are new, and of course, as always, if you'd like to follow me on any other social media platform, I have Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram. I think I've said them all, but if I miss one, I'll have them all down in the description box below. And other than that, I will see you guys all next time. Bye!